We're ready.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting of the Blackford County Council order. Roll call, please.
Patrick Hill,
Here.
Jim Weisman,
Here.
Ryan Goodspeed,
Here.
Casey Dick,
Here.
Fred Toby,
Here.
Kyla Sheen,
Here.
and Jack Beckley.
All right, calendar of upcoming events. Our next scheduled commissioners meeting is Monday, May 18th at 8:30 a.m. Next scheduled county council regular meeting is Wednesday, June 3rd, 6 p.m. The courthouse will be closed Memorial Day, Monday, May 25th. You guys have had a chance to read the minutes. I'll take a motion to accept those or amend them if needed.
I'll make a motion to approve it presented.
All right, calendar for vote. I'll second. Next scheduled commission, second. Casey, all those in favor? 5, 1 abstain. Oh, can you hand me that clipboard, please? All right, for the public comment regarding agenda items. First on the list is Jeff Stanley.
Thanks for what you guys are doing this evening, by the way. And what I'd like to say, I listened to the commissioners meeting here a few weeks ago. My main concern that I had was I seen what food pantry had to come in and ask for funding to shut down. 20% of our population here can't feed herself. And the Cleveland Food Pantry, with 20% of the population can't feed herself, asked for funding to shut the door. The second part of the meeting was, how do we stop the industry that wants to come in here and try to help our community? We can't have it both ways. We got to either help the community or hurt the community. You got a big decision here this evening. My taxes went up $4,000 in the last 3 years. Everybody else's went up too. Some of us can afford that, some of us can't. I don't want to see windmills. I don't want to farm around them. I don't want them cut up my tile. Unfortunately, I don't have any other alternatives. 3M's not looking to expand. I don't see any other factories want to come in. We'll take what we can get. I'm glad that wind and solar is here. The only alternative we've got in Blackford County that I've seen the last few years. So good luck with your decision and make the best of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Marco Sheet. Is that the name?
Yeah. And on tax abatement, I believe that it's will really benefit the county if you can go through with that abatement and be able to use what you need to use that money for, and not let the state tell you how you're going to use that money. Considerable amount. There's not many new industries moving into this county, and it's something that I think we all need to take into account if Blackford County wants to keep moving forward. There are obviously things that we need to do. It doesn't always make everyone happy, but I do believe that it's a large benefit to the county to have RWE coming into the county and providing the windmills. That's all I got. Thank you. Thank you.
Head Counselor.
Name's Ed Cancel. I'm here tonight request clarity and transparency and accountability regarding tax abatement granted to wind and solar projects in Blackford County. I'm here because of the people in counties that are clear answers about how their tax dollars and county resources are being handled. Phase 1 tax abatement. You guys gave 100% tax abatement. Question I ask. Tonight I'm asking for all information. How much taxable value was abated in phase 1? Do you have that number? Probably not. How much tax revenue did the company RWE receive from that? I don't have that number either, do we? How about this one? How much revenue did the county did not receive as a result? Tax abatements? What are they for? They ain't bringing up in the county. You're giving money away. You can't recover it. These are basic financial transparency questions that people deserve to know the dollar amounts. Not just come in here and go, hey, we're gonna grant a 75% tax abatement when we don't know the repercussions from that. We can't open a pantry, but you want to give tax abatements away. Amazing. Phase 2 request, 75% abatement. What is the project taxable value of phase 2? How much would the company save under the 75% abatement, RWE, or the solar? How much revenue would the county receive and how much would it lose? Before approving anything, the public deserves to see the numbers side by side. And you guys should be worried. How much I'm requesting full disclosure, if I'm a financial bridge for the RW in Black County, how much money is that? How much annual revenue has RW in Black County? How many years? Are these payments guaranteed or dependent on production? How much we get from the solar? How much we get from the turbine? Depends on how much we get. Where are these funds being allocated? I hear different stories from each one, every group. County commissioners and you guys, they don't know where it's going. Can you tell me where it's going? How it's going to be allocated and distributed? Are these payments tied to the abatement? These agreements should be public record. If not, they need to be made public immediately. These things I'm asking you guys right in front of you all is stuff I hear when I pass people in the hallway. I'm not going to talk behind your back. I'll come right to you. Non-disclosure agreements. Has there been non-disclosure agreements signed by anybody in this county associated with this when RWE and what solar? How many members of county solar? If so, when were these NDAs signed and what information do they restrict us from speaking about? Were these NDAs signed before, during, or after negotiations? The public has a right to know whether elected officials are restricted from sharing information about deals that affect the taxpayers. Excuse me. Conflict of listeners, interest, this is my last one. Finally, I'm asking for clarity on potential conflict of interest. When I ran for office, which I got beaten, I'm glad whoever won. I had to sign a non-disclosure form with my company. Does any council member or any immediate family member have a lease, easement, financial agreement, or benefit from wind or solar projects in this group? If so, were these relationships disclosed? Were they public disclosed when you guys were voting? This is not an accusation, it's just a question that they're saying out on the street. I'm asking here publicly, be on record, what's the truth? The people of Black County deserve clear numbers, open agreements, honest disclosure, transparent decision making. These projects will shape our county for decades. The ones here, they're going to speak for it. Each one of them has probably an investment in them going up. It's a shame that we don't have more people here that's going against them. Then what would you say? What would you say if there's 80 people in this room that are against it and 21 for it? What would you say to them then? These are the questions you need to be asking as elected officials. I don't care what you decide, but at least ask each other. Where are we going? I've lived in Blackford County for 70 years almost. And I never thought that day I'd have to look out my front door. I drive in from Blackford County this way, I see them, 69, I can see them. And the money's not staying here, folks. You know they are, you know it's not. It hasn't brought no revenue to us. You can't tell me how much we're getting, where it's going. Your own people in your group have told me that. They can't agree where the money's going. And it's not benefiting me. My taxes went up too. Well, I'm gonna tell you right to your face, Stephen. You need to think about the decision you're making. Abatements are good. If it keeps business in the community, if it brings jobs to our community, if we have taxpayers, if we have homes being bought, there's no gonna be no homes bought because of wind turbines or solar fields. They can't purchase nothing. They can't provide nothing for you, no food on the table. I appreciate you listening to me, but I want you to think hard about it. Because you have to live with it too, another 30, 40 years there. And then when they start coming down, who's on front of that bill? Your grandkids? You better save some money up.
Jackie Chancellor.
All right, Jackie Chancellor, and keep it very short and sweet. I'm gonna ask you guys this question. Do you agree that the Constitution and the Indiana Constitution is the supreme law of the land? I'm asking each one of you on record. Do you believe it's the supreme law, the Constitution? It's a yes or no?
I mean, I would say yes.
You?
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes.
Yes.
How about you?
Yes.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm glad we're all in agreement because that's what it says in Article 1, Section 1 of the Indiana Constitution. It says that all people have the power. The people behind me, the people in the county, they're the ones that have all power. That is what you guys are swearing an oath to. You have to listen to the people. So now I'm going to ask you this very important question. If the Indiana Constitution, which you just agreed to, has all power, then do you agree that all people have the power? Because that's what the Constitution says. How about you? Do you agree with that, sir? Mr. Kale?
What's that?
That all people have the power? If that's what the Indiana Constitution? How about you? You, sir?
Through their voting, yes.
How about you?
Through their voting, yes.
We the people.
Okay, we the people. So it is we the people, and it's not necessarily just through the voting, because it says that anytime the people can alter, reform, or abolish their government, and they do not have to wait for an election to do so. So now that you guys all agree with that, if the people are telling you, the people, the majority of the people in Blackford County do not want this tax abatement and do not want wind and solar, I would highly recommend that you listen to the people and what they say, not private non-disclosure acts with private landowners using public money. No matter how you dice it, the money comes from grants from the federal government to the state to the county. It's grants, state tax dollars you guys are using to pay private landowners. And I would bet bottom dollar that the people that are getting these on their property are receiving monies that are not being allocated to the rest of the public in our county. We're not all getting the benefit. That's what public monies are for, the public benefit, and it's not happening. You guys haven't been able to prove it. You haven't been able to show it. There's no guarantee. Nothing. It's empty. I have heard from numerous people on the commissioner and the council this very thing, that you have to follow rules, codes, and statutes and ordinances and la la la. Like, that's what you guys have to follow. Great. My husband said a couple weeks ago that even in your own code book, the very first thing it says is this, and it's Indiana Code 1-12-1. It makes the point very, very clear. It says the information and claims in the notices and affidavits point you to this direction and show you what you are obligated to do. And it says, none, some, or part, but all power and private landowners who have signed NGOs or received grant monies for tax dollars. I'm just reiterating. It says that people have all the power. And then in the code, it actually tells you that the Constitution, which you all agreed to, is the supreme law of the land, must be followed first. Must be. There can be no rule, no ordinance, nothing that abrogates the rights of the people, which is your sole job. Your sole job is to protect the rights of the people. It's the very first code that you all go by. So even the own code tells you Constitution is first. I hope that you guys seriously have prayed about the decision that you're gonna make. Because even our Constitution says that we were formed under the Almighty God.
Mark Townsend.
Good evening. Mark. Appreciate your time, appreciate your service. No, it's not an easy job, but your experience, I'm sure, outweighs your compensation. I'm Mark Townsend. I farmed in Washington Township for most of my life. The other day, I was thinking about my dad. The reason I was because Friday would have been his 100th birthday. And he grew up on the farm when they had the Great Depression. And people tell me that people who grew up during that time value things differently than we do. And I think that's the case. And I remember asking him one time in that experience, were you able to see the glass half full? Or did the glass appear half empty? And he smiled for a minute and he said, I was just happy to have a glass. So I wanted to share that story with you for a moment because it seems a bit reflective of Blackford County. We have some real challenges here. 165 square miles, that comprises the 4th smallest county in the state. We have a declining population base. And we are ranked 88th out of 92 counties in assessed evaluation. So we have some work to do. The good news is we have a glass or an opportunity. And I think that comes from the Prairie Creek Wind Farm. They're willing to invest $250 million in this county and $8 million up front for the economic development activity. I think that's positive. 4 years ago, as a council, you approved a tax abatement for 75% for 10 years for phase 1. I think that was a good thing. I appreciate that. Tonight you're being requested to do the same thing for phase 2. I think that would be a positive step forward to approve the abatement so both phases could be developed at the same time. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
John Payne.
John Payne, Washington Township. Appreciate your time too, and I also know it's not easy, but you guys have been elected to do the job. And I'm here to support that tax abatement for phase 2, which is the same as phase 1. Gonna bring, almost $8 million directly into the county by doing the abatement. Otherwise, those funds would be collected and sent into the state, and then they get to decide what we get or don't get. And so I'm not gonna repeat anything that's been supportive. I'm supportive of it. I appreciate your time and thank you.
Deb Greider.
There were 2 people that came in late and want to sign up. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good evening, my name is Deb Greider, and I am respectfully asking you to decline the tax abatement. One, because of SB 1 that came in January, the county is already losing more than $1 million. And by giving a tax abatement, we are giving up how many millions of dollars? Just on this one project. Do you know the number?
That we're giving up. We're gonna go through the numbers on it this evening.
This evening, okay. And then, in addition to that, Will from RWE has stated that this is part of phase 1. If it was part of phase 1, then we would not have had to have 2 separate hearings. The project was too big when it was put on PJ&M. the grid, and they would not approve it that way. They went through an expedited process to try to get it approved, and it would not be approved that way. So it had to be separated. Once you separate it, it now becomes two separate projects standing on their own. And the tax abatement that you're giving is equal to the first one, but there's 45 turbines on the first project and only 23 on the second. So I do not feel that we should be giving, if you give a tax abatement, should not be 75%. In addition to that, Will gave his word that he would wait on the ordinance to be run through the process. He did not do that. He filed early, which now puts him in the old ordinance. He did not keep his word to allow us to do a new wind ordinance, which then of course changes the whole direction. So he is under the new ordinance. The company is on this as well. So when the commissioners are right now doing the EDA and they're negotiating stuff, but the public has no idea what part of that ordinance recommendations that we had are being implemented into that. I do not think that's appropriate because we are in the dark again on what is happening. And you're in negotiations, so we don't get to be part of that negotiations. Setbacks is a very big issue with it because we are at the base of the house instead of at the property line. And the people, the non-participating people, did not sign up. We're not getting paid. So you should not be using our land and benefiting from it, any of you. My other thing is, right now, currently, all 4 projects documents are with the county attorney. It's the county attorney, the law firm is representing not only the commissioners, but the BZA and the APC. Not one set of minutes, the legal record for a meeting have been approved for all 4 projects, including the 5th project, RWE's Phase 2. There are no approved minutes. There are no signed minutes for any of the wind and solar projects. That to me is a red flag that we should not be moving forward because the commissioners just hired a third party to look into the records. And with all these discrepancies out there, I think we should hold off until we find out exactly what those discrepancies are. Okay, thank you.
Richard Dugan.
Hi, I'm Richard Dugan. I live in northwest Blackford County. From my property line, I can see windmills. From my house, I can't see any. Years ago, when I bought my property, there was ugly silos across the street, all rusted. Another big blue silo wasn't used anymore because it wasn't farmed. On the other side of my property was, I don't know, it must be 1,000-foot tall pole with red flashing lights. I didn't want to see it, so I planted trees. Now I can't see any of it. Down the road from me for 40 years, I watched 2 barns in each direction slowly collapse to the ground. Not attractive, ugly. On my way here, I passed at least 200 telephone poles with wires strung across that were hideous. And as I drove by them, they were this much taller than the windmills I saw in the distance. So as far as what I see, I guess I feel like that is irrelevant. Because as a community, I was a soldier. And sometimes we make sacrifice. And even though I may not want to see a windmill, knowing that it's doing good and it's benefiting the community makes it all worthwhile. The idea that none of the electricity will go to our county is nonsense. I've been studying electricity for a long time, and you don't tell it where to go. It goes where it wants to. My property I've had for 40 years, and it's been surrounded by farms. The idea that somebody should get electricity is like me standing out there asking my neighbor, the farmer, how much corn he's going to give me at the end of the year when he brings his crops in. I've never got a bale or a bushel yet. It's his land. So why do I care? Well, what I care about, energy is in demand. Our country is talking about data centers. Nuclear is going to take a decade to establish. And right now we've got a company that wants to come in here and help us solve an energy problem right now. When I went to high school, we had about 1,000 students. Now we have half. Our neighborhoods are slowly dying. Our jobs are disappearing. Small farms are no more. Yet our property taxes keep going up. Blackford County has a lot of farm ground. And our county has a lot of wind. RWE has made financial commitments to numerous residents in our community. They say they're going to invest $250 million in our community. 250 million. They asked me to speak today. So I looked at abatements and I looked at EDAs and everything that I found, what they're asking for from you guys with 75% seems standard in many communities. They're going out of their way to invest in our community. They're going to give us nearly $8 million in abatement money that we could use. Maybe it got offset property taxes. Maybe it goes to our schools. Maybe it helps revitalize our downtown. But either way, in my mind, that benefits our county. Thank you.
Thank you. What weekends?
Well, my name's Cole Makins. I've been a Blackford resident since I was about this tall. We moved here when I was 3 years old. This is the only home I've ever known, and I care about it. And I know that you guys do too. That's why you're here, and that's why the voters in this county trusted you to be here and to negotiate on our behalf and to make the hard decisions. And I know a lot of people are unhappy about wind and solar. As far as I stand, I think when it comes to you guys, it's not your responsibility to bring them here, make sure that they succeed here, or to push them out. But I do think that it's your responsibility to protect the interest of the people who voted you into office. And I don't think that a tax abatement is in our best interest. And so I urge you all to vote against the tax abatement. Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Hutchinson.
Elaine Hutchison. I've just been in Blackford County almost 21 years. I married my husband and moved up here from Indianapolis. And I came up here for the beauty of this place, not just my husband. But anyway, two things I really wanted to talk about. Last month when I came to the meeting, I brought you guys official documents from PJM showing their dealings with our DBE and how they were denied access to the grid twice. And if those documents stated those reasons, I won't go into all that. Hopefully you guys have a chance to read those documents. So I would question, how they're going to handle things in the future. To me, that questions their business practices. The second thing, talking about tax abatements and stuff, we have no guarantee, no matter what's in those documents or those EDAs or whatever, we have no guarantee that they're not going to dump and run later. That is a concern to a lot of people in this county. I've talked with a lot of people, and there are major concerns about all this. My husband and I's tax assessment jumped $60,000. That's a lot of money for two retired people. I don't see, other people have talked about, where's the money going? We've heard a lot about how it's going to just be thrown in the general fund or maybe a few other places. But to what benefit? To whose benefit? It seems like it goes to other things rather than the people of this county. And it's our tax dollars. That's another concern. And last of all, I have brought up before how anyone who is directly or indirectly
Are we muted?
projects be recusing themselves from voting or speaking about the projects. And that needs to be something that's followed. You know, that's something you guys are supposed to be doing on your own, making sure you're recusing yourselves from those votes. Just once again, more food for thought for you guys. And I thank you for letting me speak.
Todd Lancy.
Hello, council. Thank you for taking the time to hear everyone's views and opinions. As I've been involved with this, one of the main things that I've been concerned about is this is the largest land use change in the county's history. And the foundation upon what everything is being built on needs to be strong and solid. And that starts with the ordinance and to make sure that there's protections for everybody involved, the participating people and the non-participating people. So that needs to be strong, and the process in which all of the permitting and special exceptions were done, that also needs to be well in line and done correctly, because if their foundation isn't strong like your house, things could crumble. These are long-term projects. So to protect everybody involved, participating and non-participating, those things need to be looked at in a very stringent way. And with that said, and Ms. Kreider's made several points on some of the places where there's some weaknesses and issues with that. You might want to think about, you might need a little more money to support some of the weak pieces in that foundation. And then the last point I'd like to make is, to respect the request of the president of the council that this be tabled until he's able to be president. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's all that's signed up. All right, meeting business. RWE Craig Creek 2 abatements. Lauren?
Hey, Ryan.
Economic development. I have some information that you guys had asked me to go over a little bit with this before you guys make your decision on the abatements or the outcome for Craig Creek 2 or RWE's phase 2, whichever one we want to go at. The total number of participating community families in all the projects. Now, the only numbers that I don't have is the Taze River, which is EDPR. I don't have those numbers. They've not provided them yet because I don't think they're finished doing their land acquisition.
I am online.
For both RWE, for the lake trout, and for both the Blackford County wind and solar. 355 families, 32 of those families are just on RWE2, and for RWE phase 1, there was 170 families signed up for that one. The total EDA payments, if all the projects, including EDPR Taze River, were to be funded and billed, that would bring to the county $51,537,499 that you can use for anything that is legal for you to appropriate to. Phase 2 of RWE's Prairie Creek will bring you $7,837,500. I'm just showing you that, show what portion of it is. The total investment, we've had some folks talk about investment. If all 6 projects are invested in and finished building, right now, it would be $1,752,866,667. Of that, RW2, as somebody already said, is $250 million. I bring those numbers up to you because in the EA agreements, there is a floor on the property tax assessments. These companies do have the ability to depreciate very fast. So there's a 30% floor, so you can take 30% of the total investment, it cannot go below that. After the tax abatements wear off, the full 30% of those projects will be paid in property tax for the remainder of the life of the project. Also, funds are paid to property owners. Those funds create cash flow for the farmers and the local folks that put their property in that. Just like a different paycheck, more money coming into the county. There's construction workers that pay money in here. We also have a good neighbor agreement with both the RWE Phase 2 and the EDP Hayes River, where that will also pay money to community members. And I bring those things up just so that we have a bigger, a high level view of what these numbers actually are. What I'd like to do now, unless you have questions on anything that I do, I represent you guys and part of the negotiation with the commissioners for the EDA agreements, the road use agreements, and the decommissioning agreements. So I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Jason Similar from Baker Tilly is here. I'm going to ask him to come up before we bring Will from RWE. That's their project, and he discuss that with you. But to talk to you about what the actual numbers are on the tax abatements and answer questions. We've provided several reports for you, some just recently. So if there's any questions that you have at that point, he'll be able to answer them as a professional finance advisor to the communities. So do you have anything else for me before I bring up Jason? No. Also, Anna Glendenning from Barnes and Thornburg is here. If you have any legal questions about anything that was brought up also, she's available to answer those questions. So if anything else for me, I'll sit back down, bring up Jason. Thank you. Jason.
Thank you, Warren. Jason Similar, Baker Tilly. As Warren said, the county has hired us to look at RW's numbers and try to analyze them and to see what the impact would be on the county and the county residents. Plus some handouts I'm going to pass out. Presentations that we have provided in the past in the last few months from the council and commissioners. Sometimes they've been PowerPoint presentations that you've seen, sometimes they've been more report like this. So really nothing really new, but just wanted to present them again tonight in this public meeting, and then again answer any questions that you do have. So starting on page 2, is looking at, we've heard about there's $250 million of investment potentially being made in the county, but what does that really mean to the county as far as assessed value in dollars and cents? So we've tried to calculate that here for you. And what does that mean if you were to go forward and give it an abatement? What does that mean? What are you really giving up? So if you look at the top of the page, actually let's go to the bottom of the page. Starting at the bottom of the page, that $250 million of equipment, as was mentioned, it does depreciate very quickly. So if you look at the second column from the bottom, that first year, that $250 million of investment equals to about $80 billion of assessed value that could be potentially added to the tax base of the county, of the township, of the school, of the library. And you can see second year, it actually increases to 120 million. And then by year 3, it hits what we call the 30% floor, $76 million. So that's $250 million is really new assessed value that can potentially be added to the tax base of the county. The next column over is the estimated property taxes that they would pay based upon the 2025 tax rate. So in year 1, we're looking at, based upon this assessment and the 25 tax rate, about $1.5 million in property taxes that they would pay the first year. The second year, $2.2 million. And then once it hits the floor, a little over $1.4 million of taxes that they would pay to the county.
Now, you've heard me say taxes, but I know we've talked about this before, but it's not necessarily new taxes to the county. Because as we talked about before, the way property taxes work in Indiana, unfortunately, county can't raise another penny in property tax. You are capped at what you can collect and generate property taxes. So we can't raise another penny, whether a wind farm comes in here or whether a manufacturing plant, we just can't raise any more taxes. But what does happen is if someone else comes into the county and they pay taxes, then everyone else pays a little bit less. So that's what I've shown here. The next couple's homes is in Washington. This is going to be located in Washington Township, Lakeland Township, and Harrison Township. As the project goes forward, you can see in 2025, for instance, the tax rate was $1.82. If it goes forward and no property tax abatement is granted, then the tax rate decreases to $1.62 in its first year, and then $1.54 the second year, and then increases back to $1.63. So it's about a 20-cent rate reduction in the tax rate for Harrison Township. Again, the only new property taxes that the county would see is if you look in the far right column there, second to the far right column, is in your King Cap Development Fund. And that's because that's the one fund that the county has that if the tax base increases, you do collect more revenue. So you can see, right now you collect $123,000 in your King Cap Development Fund. You can see once it hits the floor, you see an extra $13,000 in new revenue. So that's really the only additional revenue that the county would see from the new revenue. And that's again, assuming no property tax abatement. So if you go to the top part of the schedule, this is what the impact would be if a 10-year 75% property tax abatement were granted to the company. So again, looking at that second column, the total assessed value, the first year in 2031, instead of seeing $80 million of new assessment, you'd only see $20 million of new assessment to the tax base. And then it goes from down to 30, down to 19 million. And then after year 10, once the tax abatement rolls off, you can see in 2041, you're back at that $76 million. So we're again, they're still paying taxes, still going to be an increase of around $19 million for the next 10 years. But then after that, the abatement has ran its course, and you'd see a $76 million increase in your tax base. You can see what that means in property taxes. Instead of paying about 1.5 or 2 million the first couple of years and then decrease to 1.4, it's more like that $360,000 of taxes. Again, not new taxes to the county, but additional taxes. So with the 75-year or 75% abatement for 10 years, you can see the difference there. They'd be saving about over $1 million in taxes a year, or 11.3 million over that 10-year period, based on 2025 tax rates. And then you can see the decrease in tax rates. You can see they still decrease somewhat for Washington, Licking, and Harrison Township during that 10-year period, but not by as much because an abatement would have been granted. But then you can see after the abatement rolls off in year 11, then you'd see the full impact of that new assessed value. And you can see in year 11, the tax rate would decrease to $1.63, just like it does at the bottom of the schedule. It just wouldn't be until year 11 after the 10-year abatement's rolled off. You can see the CCD fund, we're estimating $13,000 a year of increase. It'd only be a little over $3,000 a year for that 10 years. Then after the 10th year from the debate rolls off, then you'd see that extra $13,000 coming in hand. But what's been negotiated is if an abatement of this type is granted, the companies agreed to give the county an EDA payment of $7.8 million. And that is new money that you would receive over a period of time that can be used for projects or expenses anywhere throughout the county.
So you're saying that the difference in the tax, if the tax abatement's given, it's 15 cents is the difference? So if it's $1.74.
Yes.
And it's $1.62, so it's 15 cents on the difference of if we give an abatement or not.
Which numbers?
So like here, we're doing $1.77, $1.62,
Yes.
so you're 15 cents.
Yeah. Instead of going down 20 cents, it's only going down 5 cents for the first 10 years. Right. And then we've shown on the next page what that means to the various taxpayers. So for instance, Washington Township, if you have a house that has an assessment of $200,000, kind of there in the middle of the page, that during the tax abatement, their taxes would go down about $30, $29.91. And then following the abatement, the property taxes would go down about $110, keeping everything constant. Knowing there's not, other things do change. So again, keeping everything else constant with the increase of assessed value and abatement. With no abatement, you would start off with about that $110 decrease. But with the abatement, it's about a $30 increase for the first 10 years. And then after the abatement was off, then taxpayers would see a reduction of approximately 110 in Washington Township.
This is just for this project. This
Yes.
is not all 4 projects.
That's correct. Yeah, we had prepared another one that did show all the projects that have been approved and proposed.
I know.
But this is just,
Was trying to clarify that.
the only other thing that, we talked about this before, think about is the new money, the $7 million is, worked with the county for a number of years and have done various projects. One of the things to think about, a lot of good comments on both sides on the cash. And you may not know what you want to use this, EDA payments for. That's something to think about if you do have projects come up. Whether it's, more renovations to the courthouse or, highways, buildings, if any of that thing that you don't have to ask for now, this money could be used for that. If you didn't have that money, as we know, we really don't have any other revenue anywhere else. You don't have any other options to generate more revenue unless you increase local income taxes, which is a higher tax. So the only other option is to raise property taxes to do a bond issue, which we've done before in the past. We didn't have money for some projects. So if you didn't get to have the EDA payment, then if we had those projects, we may have to raise taxes to be able to fund those. And that would offset this rate reduction that we're seeing from the 10-year property tax abatement. So that's something that, not only, for your county, but other counties who, have this, question in front of you on whether you do an abatement and get EDA payments and the benefit. That's something else to consider, is that cash can prevent you from maybe having to raise property taxes in the future for projects that you may need.
Question?
Hello, everyone, Will Kolbach, developer for Prairie Creek. Will Kolbach, developer for Prairie Creek 1 and 2. I presented to you guys a few months ago. We were talking about the tax abatement then. My colleague Kyle from Denton's is also here. I know Baker Tilly did a great job of kind of stepping through things, but in case you guys have more comments, questions, Kyle's here also as a resource for you guys. Not going to inundate you with a lot of slides, a lot of words, a lot of things that Warren spoke about. I still hold true. Prairie Creek 2, just to kind of refresh you guys' memory, it's a 103.5 megawatt wind project, second phase of the Prairie Creek 1 project. We consider that, if you guys look at the map, the economic revitalization area, which is those dashed lines right there. Prairie Creek 1 and Prairie Creek 2 fall in that same area. So that's why we consider it a second phase of it. Consists of 23 turbines, and each turbine generates 4.5 megawatts per turbine. So you do the math, 23 times 4.5, that's where that 103.5 megawatts come from. We're about 10,000 acres across 3 townships. And same thing for Prairie Creek 2 as Prairie Creek 1. It's a 30-year life for the project. So nothing different from that perspective. Yeah, let's go to the next slide right here. So what we're asking for, and Warren already kind of said it as well, but we're asking for a 10-year, 75% tax abatement. No different for Prairie Creek 1 or Prairie Creek 2. It's the same tax abatement structure. Not asking for anything different. $250 million investment. I know that's been spoken before. That's 7.8 million. That's entirely up to you guys to use as a county. That's part of the EDA agreement. That's what we'd be paying over 10 years as well. Something to kind of highlight that's changed since we last talked. So we have been talking with the county about an economic development agreement. As part of that, neighbor agreement payments have been kind of codified or been spoken about, and we've agreed to provide neighbor agreement payments to folks. And this would be 1,750 feet from a turbine. You'd be eligible if you'd like to sign up for it. We're not going to twist anyone's arms, but a payment for being close to a turbine. So trying to create a community, include more of the community in the project. So that is something that has changed since we last talked. And over the project lifetime, just for Prairie Creek 2, it's about $4 million. So something to kind of consider. So we do receive tax savings from the EDA, or from the tax abatement, I should say. The EDA payments that we're giving, that's $7.8 million. If you add that to the $4 million of neighbor agreements, that's really roughly about the tax savings we're receiving from the tax abatement. So we're not really generating very much value, but that's okay, because really we want to be part of the community. We want to include people as part of this project. It's very important to us. So just wanted to highlight that. Again, it's something different. Consider, based on last time we talked compared to last time we talked. So with that, again, I don't want to inundate you guys with information you've already heard. So I'll answer any questions you guys might have.
I guess on your good neighbor payments, like you say they gotta sign an agreement, what's the agreement, roughly?
Yeah, so it's entirely voluntary. Again, we will not twist anyone's arms to have that, but the offer is $1,000 and escalated by $1,000 per year, and escalated by 2% each year to roughly keep up with inflation.
And what do you get in that, if they sign a good neighbor, are you able to do stuff on their property?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, the neighbor agreement pretty much just says you're participating in this project. Actually, there is language in there that explicitly prevents us from putting infrastructure on those folks' property. And I'll just note that that neighbor agreement has been sent to the county. It's not a big secret. We're not hiding behind anything.
What made the decision to 1,750 feet or whatever it was?
So, there is again, talks with the county, and, originally, even before we went to get a permit for Prairie Creek 2, we actually had approached folks, within 1,500 feet of the turbine. That's about 26 folks, 4 of which took us up on that offer, to be, to sign up with us. The rest either said no, or they didn't respond to our phone calls. We stopped by as well too. We felt 1,500 was a pretty good distance. However, in talks with the county, We've kind of landed out at 1750 as a middle ground to again try and increase the area that we can help, include folks in the property or in the project. So.
More questions?
Thank you for your consideration.
Dan, do you wanna speak on behalf of the commissioners on anything? Good. Warren, anybody else? We'll bring up
Only if you have specific questions.
anything else you guys wanna ask anybody? Okay, then I will, open the floor for motions for the, on personal property tax abatement resolution.
We have heard
Hey,
pros and cons. But considering the fact that this is in the area already approved, it's phase 2 of a project we've already started. There's financial gain by property owners, by the county, and to some degree, the taxpayers, property taxpayers. There's gonna be new roads paved. I move that we accept the abatement as presented.
Motion by Jim. And second,
I'll second.
second by Fred. Roll call vote, please.
Patrick Kell,
Aye.
sorry, Jim Weisman,
Yes.
Ryan Goodspeed,
Aye.
Casey Dick,
Aye.
Fred Toby,
Yes.
Kyle LaSheen,
Aye. 6-0.
I am online.
Non-action matters. We don't have any on the agenda. Are there any department heads that would like to speak? None? Oh. Oh.
Okay, so, worked out a deal on trading the pickup truck. The numbers haven't been good until this last month. They, offer a municipal discount. And then they offer individual discounts for specials every now and then. And usually you can only get one or the other, and they offered both last month. So to make the trade with the 26,680 and 80 cents. And since it's over 25,000, you guys don't have to say, I have to go ahead and spend it. It's out of budget. It's comes from garage motor, new vehicle, and it's owner's valuation. That's all budgeted.
How much did you say was it?
26,680 80 cents. Trade. Basically truck for truck. Seats instead of leather or plastic. Plastic. Has OnStar available because it can't get it without it, but I can probably use that. So that's like $1,700. So, but that basically puts us under a new warranty. Really, and it's about normal wear and tear type costs. So. I mean, to run a tank there.
So you're not asking for any more money, you just.
Correct. Yeah, it's just because it's over.
Yeah.
One of the department heads loves.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Kyle.
I'll second.
Second Casey.
And it goes to a so
Roll call vote.
we can vote if it doesn't.
We can vote, yeah. Um, Patrick Hale, Jim Weisman,
Aye.
Ryan Goodspeed,
Aye.
Casey Dick,
Aye.
Fred Toby,
Aye.
Kyle Lushing.
Aye.
Jack's been trying to say something, but I mean, just now just called me. I don't know if I can get him to, this log's gonna. See if it works. I don't know. Where's he at? He's not on there now, is he? He's not on there. He's not on there now. He's not on there now, so.
Go ahead, John. Almost didn't see you back there. Try not to.
As if you tell, I wear a bright yellow shirt, so all of our crew members wear these during the day. Centos has allowed us to get new uniforms. They hadn't been able to get the safety vest or safety shirts prior years, but they've started dabbling in those now, so we have the choice of either a shirt like this or a t-shirt style shirt, so all the crew members have a set to wear, so. Trying to make us a little more visible. That doesn't mean that people like to stop for us. We had an incident last week in Montpelier.
I don't know.
Crew was,
It won't go on there now.
patching with the orange patcher. Guy was shooting oil and stone, and driver was out of the truck with a flag. Had a gentleman just drive right through the oil, right past them. No regard of them standing there. So, not sure what we're gonna do about traffic in the public. We're trying to do the best we can to repair our roads. Everybody wants nice roads but the disregard of us out on the road. My main goal is for every crew member that has ever worked for me, go home and see your family. When you get done with your shift for the day, that is my goal. Why? Because I almost didn't make it one day. And you guys all know that. So that is my goal. With that being said, the transfer station will be open this Saturday, May the 9th. The second Saturday here in May, from 8 to 12. Monday, we presented the quotes for the salt shed. The commissioners approved to go with a company called Clear Heights Construction. $189,350. It's a salt shed 72 feet wide, 64 feet deep. And that will allow us to store more salt. So we don't run into a shortage problem like we did last year. Well, I guess being a year ago now. Where we had used up our allotment. I got to look at my little crystal ball here in June. Figure out how much salt I'm gonna order for the fall or December through March of next year. So you can only use up to so much of your allotment. Once you get over that, you can't get any salt, no matter where you want to get it from. So this will allow us to, some years if we don't use it all, we can still buy it, store it. For years that, we have to use more. It seems like our ice removal is becoming more and more prevalent than snow removal. So.
You said Monday, a gentleman will allow you to get other things under the roof also?
Yeah. We won't be using the whole shed for salt. We built it, it's bigger than what we really need, but that will allow us to back some equipment in, out of the weather at the front of the shed. Also allow us to store pure sand in there, separate from the salt. So we have dry sand. That way, if we have a chemical spill or something in the community, we can pick up dry sand and go absorb, whether it be 28, farmer has a spill with a bunch of chemicals, whatever, we can get it absorbed with the sand, dry sand, rather than, you know, it just going out everywhere. Our road repair is ongoing. Next week we'll start making pug mix. We'll have, Central Paving come in with their pug mill. We'll make 2,400 ton of, what we call pug mix. It's a mixture of 9 sand and oil. Then we'll lay it through our paver and we'll pave roads with it. So don't know for sure how many miles that will get us, but we do try to do at least a full mile of paving, and then we do a lot of patchwork with it, over bridges or culverts or whatever. So 300 East was upgraded from State Road 18 to 500 North in the Lake Trout project. It was ground concrete stabilized and 6 inches of stone put on top, 4 inches of 53s, 2 inches of 73s. And then SJCA was out today running some compaction test on it, and it's set up pretty good. So hopefully we won't have any problems with that road. That is the main road for Lake Trout to deliver everything in. So that's all I have. Thank you, John.
Jim. So I'm not really in depth with the, what I want to talk about tonight, but everything that's going on. Been pretty long. It would take long if I had this guy give a presentation that he was going to give, so he's going to about it. Thank you. You're welcome. But I did leave you with a copy of Sheriff Brad Burkhardt's recommendations for this project. Just so you're aware, so it's a tablet that they can get workforce development training, their GED, potentially college credits, and maybe some other mental health and substance abuse stuff that we can get plugged into this. It's no cost to the inmate. It does cost us, but like I said, the email that I sent to everybody, one of the things that the Attorney General was going to talk to us about was our opiate settlement money and what we were using it for. And I don't want to tell him we're not using it. We're using it right now to pay for some IRAC stuff, but it's sat there going. In my belief, we should be using that money to try to keep people from reoffending. So if we can get them, I did a survey of all our inmates, the ones that turned the survey back in. There's like 40 out of the 70, 10 of those didn't have a GED. So that's one of the things that we can get with this. So that's what we want to talk about next month. I asked you to, I sent you a bunch of information, look over it, please. That way you can ask him questions when he's there.
How similar is this to library?
So this would be, so IRAC specifically focuses on the substance abuse. Where there are a lot of things we're not touching yet. So a lot of these people come to jail because they don't have education, they don't have any training to get jobs. These set you up for get you ready to take your CDL. It gets you through starting your HVAC certifications, and then partners with companies in the community and surrounding communities to try to get them apprenticeships and stuff when they get out. So it's a very neat program that I think that we can take advantage of to try to keep some of these people from reoffending. I think we're on the right path with the substance abuse. There's a lot of mental health and a lot of education and workforce development that we're not touching, and this covers the rest of it. But yeah, he'll be able to talk a lot more about it. And I told him to try to keep it basic because he went in depth with me and it's long. So, but and you guys can look at this if you want to. All right. Thank you.
Another office heads. Right. Committee reports, corrections file.
No report.
Solid waste, Casey.
No report.
Economic development, Warren. Oh, sorry, Casey, that's your
Do you have anything besides?
Nothing more than.
All right. Nothing more.
Blackford Development, Patrick,
No report.
and nothing from LEPC. I'm aware of anyways, there's Jimmy. Anything from LEPC?
And then there's a multi-hazard mitigation plan meeting this week, being led by our new director.
When is that?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
12:30, less than an hour. It's here.
All right, financial reports.
You want me to do it?
No, either way. I'll do it.
Okay. Cash balance, April 26th. $2,278,074.40. Total expenditures for April was $475,014.07. Revenues for April was $183,877.99.
Additional appropriations, none. Transfers. Adult probation user fees, $61.50 from postage to miscellaneous.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
A second. Roll call.
Patrick Kell.
Aye.
Jim Weisman.
Aye.
Ryan Goodspeed.
Aye.
Casey Dick.
Aye.
Fred Toby.
Aye.
Kyle LaSheen.
Aye.
All right, public, questions or comments?
I got. Okay. Maybe I need to talk louder. Okay, Prairie Creek 2 was not part of Prairie Creek originally. They call it, you can call it add-on, you can call it phase 2, but it is a new project. Also, Taze River is a new project. The commissioner, specifically John Lancaster, I don't know if I remember the best right now, promised that there would be no new projects until after the wind and solar ordinances were put together. That still has not happened. We've been working on that for months. And there's a lot of disagreements going back and forth. We've asked several times for moratoriums to buy the time to be able to get those new ordinances put in place. That still hasn't happened. And they agreed that there would be no new projects until that was completed. So there's that information. You have to forgive me, I'm not a public speaker and I'm standing here shaking. Okay, second. Forgot that, I got sorry. The numbers that Baker Tilly put together, I'm sure they, put a lot of time and effort into that. But what it is just numbers on paper. There's no guarantee. Especially when the counties agree to a letter of credit, which is just a piece of paper. There's no money in the bank that backs it.
That's not.
It is, I checked it out,
Yeah.
I've researched it,
The letter of credit is binding.
we'll see. I got too much experience.
So
Sorry.
do I, man.
Well, does yours trump mine? Then don't put me down.
I'm not.
You are.
What are you doing? Guys?
Okay, I'm bringing up information for you to consider. We've been cast aside quite a bit in this county. The other thing, if I can get my back into where I was. The good neighbor agreements also bind them for 30 to 50 years on that property. Another piece of information for you. Let's see. We are already having on our electric bills, money taken out by PJM. And there's not even anything hooked up. But money's coming out of our electric bills and it has been for quite some time. That's another piece of information I have to share. And then last but not least, I know that at least two of you, and I'm not gonna name names, have direct or indirect. I can't think of the word now because I'm so nervous. I'm sorry, conflict of interest. And yet you voted. You should have recused yourselves. And that's all I have.
So on your conflict of interest. How? Okay, so my grandmother's property that is now divided 4 ways is gonna have a cable running through it. Okay, so, and I'll disclose that, I don't, there's no big deal to me. We've sought legal counsel and I do not benefit from that. So I do not need to recuse myself
Okay.
from that.
Okay, and I see that. I do see that, but I do know that there's at least 2 people who are.
The simple fact is, when I went to apply to be a county commissioner, my company asked me, where are you going to run for commissioner? Because decisions I could make could affect their buying and purchasing of land. Just like your decision you might not be receiving
I spoke to legal counsel about it.
I'm just telling, I understand what you're telling me. Legal counsel is not, they're not here to defend you now.
Legal counsel is also not
We didn't vote legal
elected.
counsel. We didn't
We
elect.
did not elect
we did
legal
not-
counsel.
We did not elect a lawyer to be you.
You're right, you didn't.
They are not to speak for you. Now, if you want to seek legal counsel before you speak, fine.
And I did.
But what I'm saying is, you still held accountable. You can make a decision whether you agree with abatements or not, because the cable does run through your property. Maybe you're
It's not my property.
maybe you won't have no conflict of interest, but guess what? It'd be like, if my brother was receiving a cable or a wind turbine and I vote, he's still my brother.
Okay.
So that affects
Okay.
my decision.
And yeah, I'm not trying to bring up animosity. I really am. I'm not. I'm just trying to share information that I know. And
just telling you.
for you guys to think about, because I think this decision is wrong. And I think it should not go through, since 2 people did vote that have those interests or indirect or direct interests. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Okay, so even if you, I'm just gonna tell you, like, even if you take 2 people out, it still passed.
That's true. That's true. But
That's
here's the
true.
point.
But it's still my point.
Even though you took you out, right? It still knows where you stand. If you don't vote, okay, we appreciate that. If you stand down, then I can't vote, because guess what? My family is part of it. That's okay. If you guys rescue vote, that's fine too. But you still need to recuse yourself if you have some type of interest or family members benefiting from a project. That's why Hershey asked me to file, well, that's the thing. So that I cannot make decisions for Hershey to purchase land or not purchase land. You guys, it's just common courtesy, it's respect. I get it.
Okay, so. My question, I'm sorry. See, but. Did you ask for a donation from RWE? For a project that you would like to do?
I did, I haven't received anything, but. What,
So my question would be, do you actually think it's appropriate for you to be voting on something? That benefits RWE when you are trying to get a donation from them to do your own project?
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
It's
it's,
just truth.
the project in question is the tallest flag in in Indiana. Built in Blackford County as a destination point. Whether they donate or they don't donate, it's still a project that I would like to see happen. My decision tonight, there's no, whether I said yes or no, it didn't, I'm still gonna ask for the donation. if I said no. I want that project done, where the funds come from.
Perception means a lot, and to all the people who are non-participating people,
I'm non-participating, because I don't get anything from them.
Right. I'm still saying though that you are trying to do a project. You're voting on something for the same company that you're trying to get a donation. It's the perception of how it looks. So I'm done, like, you know, you're good, you're good.
Casey.
Perception or not.
It's not that you have a project involved in wind or solar, you have a separate project.
It's,
Do you understand what I'm saying now?
I intend on asking every single one of them. Yeah,
We're not
I'm
trying
not,
to put you under.
I'm not, whether that gets built or not, that still doesn't affect me, or
But it's inappropriate for you to be asking for money for a company that you're taking a vote. And we're done. I'm okay. Like you answered my question, we're good. Hi, I appreciate the fact that you asked about the good neighbor agreement, but the parts that you left out that might have been good to ask is what are those people, what are the rights they're waiving?
I did ask that.
And what did Will say? Because I didn't hear that answered.
Yeah, he said
Setbacks?
there was really no.
Noise,
No,
Nope.
shadow record,
no,
are any of those in there?
there's not. You said there's not.
Yeah.
I'm asking Will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not.
Because in Tays River, don't be rude.
Yeah.
If you wanna talk, come up and talk, but you let me do mine, okay? And you take your turn. Because in Tays River, you do give up all those rights. You waive the rights to all that stuff. And my question would be, why did they not offer that good neighbor agreement in the beginning? Why now, right before a tax abatement decision? And I think that's something.
Well, I
we
think
should
it's
consider.
something that we've learned going forward from when we started. That we asked for that good neighbor. So,
The county asked for.
yeah,
Okay, that's what I think.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments?
I'll be polite, I promise. I'm Pam Wiesman. Did we not have an attorney here present earlier? That we
Yes.
should ask those questions to?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there were two.
okay, I just wanted to.
Okay. All right, so. One, I just want to make the statement of the taxpayers don't elect attorneys. We elect you guys. So when you start delegating your authority that we have given you over to somebody that's not elected, that's called maladministration. If you don't know what maladministration is, I highly recommend that you look it up because it's a crime. I'm not accusing you of a crime. I'm just saying you need to check your balance. The other thing I want to ask is on the whole good neighbor thing. Somebody had mentioned, why does a good neighbor get 1,750 feet? But in the contracts that have been given to people that are upset about the setbacks that they were not getting full disclosure on in their contract is a lot closer than 1,750 feet. I don't know. I think you guys need to why is a setback that far for a good neighbor, but it can't be for the people that are actually putting out on their property that was guaranteed that the setback would be like a safe distance. So I'm just putting that out there for you guys to be able to answer that question. And then the last thing that I want you guys to really consider, and it's not because I'm trying to be mean, and it's not because I don't care, because I do. I want all of our servants to understand what they're being held accountable for. And I'm being 100% serious. If you guys look at Trump versus US in 2024, it actually is a Supreme Court decision that says that there is no immunity for an unofficial act. What does that mean? That means that when you are acting officially under the people's business, you are protected because the people will come back and say, hey, you're doing what the people want you to do. But if you keep doing things that you have not been granted authority to do from the people, it is now an unofficial act, which means you're on your own. You have to go hire your own counsel. The tax dollars will not pay for you to have your own counsel when the people come now back and say, you guys, you made a decision that you were not granted lawful authority to make. And the people of Blackford County deserve, you can actually put it to a lawful vote at any time where people can show up and say yes or no to a tax abatement, yes or no to a project. The people speak, the people. And right now, if you went out and you asked the residents what they wanted in this county, they would come and tell you, we don't want that 75% tax abatement. Guarantee you. If you have 175 families that are getting benefited from this by having non-disclosures and receiving money off of this, how many families are in Blackford County that is not part of that 175 families? And is part of that 175 families receiving this good neighbor thing where they have to then agree to put up with noise and wind and lights flashing and all of the other stuff? Or how many real landowners are getting these suckers put on the ground? And then people like Eddie and I are gonna have to listen to 5 of them all around within 1 mile of our home. How about that? We don't want that. It's called the public good for a reason. Our constitution is a guaranteed right that we have. And you guys are screwing up the right for the people. I don't think you guys understand the seriousness of that issue. Blackford County is a farming community. That's it. That's what we are. We're a farming community. There are other avenues I'm sure that we can take if farmers really need help. Right? I don't have any problem with that. But I'm just saying, you guys really need to think about the decisions that you're making and ask the people on the ground what they want and what they don't want. And remember, whether you've read the full Constitution or not, you swore an oath to it, and you're bound to it, and you're bound to it in a court of law. You just are.
Any other comments? Motion to go. Oh.
The good neighbor agreement. I believe you said that it had been submitted to the county and you weren't trying to hide anything. Where can the public get a copy of that to read what's in it?
That's not something the council reviews, so I couldn't answer that question for you.
I could speak to it.
So it's not available to the public?
It's not mine to necessarily divulge. So if the county would like to.
So it is a secret,
Mhm.
but it's not publicly available.
I can't speak for the county.
The numbers that you have that were read out today, where can the public get those?
Right here, you wanna look at a copy of mine right here?
Where can, I mean, I'll take it,
I mean,
sure,
we can-
I'm
we can
interested,
get everybody
but where
in the
can
county
everybody
to
else?
We
get
had
that?
several meetings last fall where Baker Tilly went through all this. And how many were there? People. Yeah. Four.
I mean, this.
Four out of the county.
I'm interested now, and I'm sure other people are getting interested now. So where can I find those numbers and where can the public find those numbers? Because saying you weren't interested a year ago doesn't resolve you from what's happening right now. So I just want to know, where are the numbers?
Any of the information that you would like, we can get for you. Any member of the public, we can put a packet together, they can come up and pick it up at any time. That's not an issue. Anytime there's been asked.
Information.
You emailed me and wanted to speak and I gave you my phone number and you never called me. I
I
would
did.
love
I
to
was-
went over all of this with you prior to the meeting. However, you didn't make the phone call in 5 days.
And I'd still love to meet
So
you.
I would love to talk to you about it. If people want to talk to us and we offer to, and then they don't take us up on it, how are we supposed to get the information out there to you?
And I do appreciate Casey emailed me back and you emailed me back and you were the only two that responded and you did offer to meet. And
And I sent you my cell phone number
you did.
and I got nothing.
And Sunday, we got
So
home
you would
Sunday.
have, you see this right here? This is a binder of all that information you're asking about.
Mhm.
I was gonna meet with you and show you this, and I will show anybody. I carry this with me 90% of the time.
I'd still love to
People
meet with
don't
you and
wanna,
talk about
people
it.
don't wanna actually.
I do.
Well, I'm
That's-
more than happy.
I'm getting involved now because I don't like where it's going.
I'm more
And I
than
wasn't aware of
happy to go
everything a
on.
year ago. I'm sorry?
I say it's already passed.
Yes, it is. But there's more to come, right? I mean,
don't know.
I'm sure that there's what, 4 more phases, I think we said? There were 6 total projects?
Yeah. And there was only 4 original.
So
notices.
there's gonna be more down the road. This isn't the last tax statement they're gonna ask for. And I wanna get informed. And honestly, I'm gonna take that information, I'm gonna get other people informed because there's a lot of people who don't know. So. But I would like to meet with you and I would like to go over those numbers and. Honestly, all the information that has to do with this. I'd like to, who do I call you? Is that who I call?
I mean, if you let us know, the auditor's office can get you copies of any of the information. I mean, yeah, it's available. If you want, I mean, if there's something you specifically want, you're more than welcome. Anybody, I mean, it's not a secret.
Okay.
It's public information.
All right, well, that's good to know. I will get in touch with you. And I'll try to get a meeting again.
Sounds good.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Any other questions?
Just one, is the information available prior to the meeting or after?
Is the which
What he was just talking about, all the information, like what the meeting was about, is it available?
all
prior
of
to the meeting?
these, all of this information, I mean, some of this stuff is from like this. This is one of the exact same things we got tonight for one of the other projects. This one's for the Tri-Global project 2022. So I mean, I've been carrying this and like, we've had this since 2022. We had it in a public meeting just like this. I mean, we've had multiple meetings where Baker Tilly has come in and presented all this, so.
Right, so what I have, is it available for us to get prior to a meeting where we can look it over and do our own research on that information before we even come here to a meeting?
Yes, any of that information, like all of that information, you could have gotten prior to this meeting.
Okay, so the agenda does not even come out sometimes until just 2 days before. How are we going to be able to get that information, know what's going to be on the agenda so that we can actually do that?
From, you mean, okay,
Yeah,
so
like all this
the
stuff.
information is not available to anyone before the meeting in which we get it at that meeting, and then subsequent time after that, it is available, yes.
Well, that's what I was just saying. So like you just took a vote on that. So all the information that you, like, you went through, like his
Okay,
presentation.
I'm sorry, I understand your question. So the information from Baker Tilly is presented to the council in a executive session prior to, for information only, prior to, I can't remember now when the original, I think it was in April, our original meeting with Baker Tilly to present those information to the council. So it's been available since that time.
And the information tonight, like his presentation and all that, that's not available to us until we come here to the meeting. Like your
So,
presentation stuff.
The presentation that he made tonight was the same presentation that we had made to the council in April. So that information would have been available, yes.
How would we have known?
Those meetings are all posted as far as the meeting and what's going to be presented. I mean, those are posted, what, 7 days in advance or whatever the requirement is.
And an answer,
We're receiving that information.
an answer to the question, so, in every other board meeting, we are not permitted to ask attorneys any questions. Only if the board itself gives permission for an attorney to answer a question. So it'd be.
So tonight, none of the questions that you asked in the second half that would have been for the attorney were asked when the attorneys were here. Otherwise, we would have had you speak to the attorney. I mean, none of those questions that you asked, you
Not
didn't
mine,
ask.
just not mine.
Whoever asked,
Yeah.
them, I can't remember.
I'm just saying, but in any of the
Those were
meetings,
asked.
that's not permitted.
That's why the attorneys were here and in person, in fact, requested by myself and I think a couple council members to have the attorney in person here. So those questions had you asked when the attorney was here, we would have allowed them to answer.
Okay, but it's not been my experience at all in almost 2 years that can happen. And I just got denied too.
But I mean, this is the first meeting like this that we've had where you've had a question for it. So, I mean, I can't speak on other meetings, but in our meetings, that's what we would have had you ask. That's why they were here.
So if I understand right, you guys say you have a meeting prior to this one. And information is presented to you guys. Of the upcoming meeting, and we can get that information prior to this meeting.
This is the only thing we get, is the agenda.
That's all I'm saying. So you had a meeting.
We had a meeting last month,
Okay, you had a meeting last month.
and we had a meeting that you were at.
Is that the one that you just approved today? So it doesn't get posted until after this meeting?
See, what I'm asking is that So the information we get tonight, the sheet that the gentleman handed you with all the figures on it, right?
Yes,
Have you gentlemen and ladies sat down and reviewed those numbers with someone before you made an abatement decision or?
yes.
So
I've
we,
received those same numbers in two different meetings.
so we were able to get that information way prior to this by talking to her or saying,
Speak to the council member, whenever there is a executive session where information is presented, that's public information.
Okay.
That information is available once it's made public. All you have to do is request it.
Sometimes it takes 2 months for that to be made public. That's.
I mean, there's nothing that I've been asked for that hasn't been available right away.
Well,
I mean, I can't speak on for other departments or I'm talking about for the council. If you ask me for information, I will do anything I can to get it.
we're going based on what we've experienced in the past. We still do not have all the APC or BZA minutes that we requested 2 years ago.
Like I said, I cannot speak on that.
But that's, you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're
That's-
saying, and that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm passionate about, if you come to me and you ask me for something, I will do everything I can to get you that information, but you have to ask me. I can't just magically make it appear in your hands. So, I mean, that's. Any more questions?
One more. So, sorry. In reference to the good neighbor agreement, so when did RWE start offering the good neighbor agreement? After the text of, like you tabled it the first time, or before that?
I cannot speak on that positively.
Right here, so.
Is
Oh,
it-
just- No, nothing to, so before actually even August of last year, 2025. We actually approached the 26 folks within 1,500 feet turbine, probably July of last year. So we actually approached them for a neighbor agreement. And again, I think about 4 of them took us up on it, and the rest said either no or, have not given us any response. And that's after repeated attempts to communicate with them.
And in, to their defense, to a good neighbor agreement is not public record. It is a contract between the person who signed it and the company. And because it has information, banking information in there, it's not a public record. So there's no way to know what's in that agreement unless somebody tells. And then isn't it the agreement that you will not discuss it? Only the person who signed it can release it.
Yeah, that's with that neighbor agreement, yes, that's.
I've got something like.
I'm Dennis Langman. I was at the Baker and Tillman meeting. I asked the question once. Where the money goes. And it was mentioned twice, the money goes to reason.
We do not, because that committee has not been
Okay.
established.
Want that on public record. That was stated at that meeting when we was at the 4-H building.
They are economic development payments.
Yes, and that's what I was stating,
It does not
economic
go to
development.
economic development, it goes to the county.
It's not, and I didn't ask this question at the meeting. I asked it afterwards, talked to the guy outside, I forget his name. When I asked this question, it was told to me that the numbers were all incorrect. The question was, how can you have straight line graphs, because all the graphs that they showed through the 10 years, same amount of money at that meeting. So how is that possible?
Is the
And he told me that
hidden
was incorrect numbers.
on the
That was
graph,
at that meeting.
the graph without the tax abatement, it goes to a 30% floor. That's why it goes,
Yes,
that's flatlined. Like it's,
yes, I understand, but it goes down to 30%, but why does the number stay for 10 years, the same numbers? Think of that.
Based on the investment.
yeah, it's based on the investment. It's not,
I'm finished with that because I've been in business long enough for the years with the quarries that things don't flatline.
More, this is kind of, sorry. The commissioners have made it clear that the money goes into the general fund, which goes under a line item called economic development, which then that's the committee and they'll make those decisions. So where a lot of people get confused, they're thinking economic development as in Warren Brown Economic Development. And it's the general fund, and it goes into a line item called economic development, and there's no decision where that is. Like, that's where you're waiting on a committee.
Thank you. Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
56.
Yes, that's. Oh, thank you.
It's over there.
Yeah, sign. Yeah, I got it.